Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Professor Oak Challenge. After the last time, I wanted to do something more special, so I decided for this time it might be a fun idea to try out a ROM hack. I don't know what it is, but the concept of open world always fascinated me. And when open world and ROM hacks come to my mind, the only thing I can think of is Pokemon Crystal Clear. I know, many of you know it already, but for those of you who doesn't, here's a short description of it. It is based off Pokemon Crystal obviously, but its concept is that you can reach basically any point of the map from the start of the game. Also, you can face the gym leaders in any order you want. And so I thought for myself, could it be possible that you can get any Pokemon in the game without any badges? Let's find out! But first, what is the Professor Oak Challenge? The TLDR version basically is catch and evolve all Pokemon available with the least amount of badges. The rules of the challenge are only one game allowed, and obviously no cheats or glitches allowed. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's get started with the preparation for the run. For this, I made a whole guide if you want to try it out on your own, so feel free to use it or modify it as you like. You can find it down in the description below. Oh, and obviously, big spoiler alert. If you are about to play this game on your own and don't want to see all the secret locations, then this video is not the right video for you. Oh, and before I read the same question over and over again down in the comments, no, I can't legally provide a ROM for you here, and if you want to play Crystal Clear on your own, unfortunately you have to look it up for yourself. For the start of the game, we are presented with a lot of choices, including our own starter Pokemon, from which you can have 30 different options, as of version 2.1.1. As for my own run, I settled down on Porygon. Why Porygon, you ask? Well, after the last challenge in Silver, I kinda got Game Corner PTSD and I really didn't want to grind on game coins again. For your personal choice, it doesn't matter really. You don't lock yourself out of the challenge by picking the starter you like, so feel free to pick whatever you want. If I would do the entire challenge again, I would definitely settle for Voltorb. You will see why during the video. Having chosen your starter and customized your character, it is time to choose your starting location. Here you also have complete freedom. So let's say you want to roleplay a bit and pretend to grow up in Olivine. That is definitely an option. The best starting location for the Professor Oak Challenge though is in Goldenrod City. Once you are free to move, we have to build up the character and team, so we can do the challenge more effectively. The first thing you should do is to head north to the guardhouse. There you get the gift Pokemon Kenya, which you may know from the base game as well. Kenya the Spearow is great, because from the point you get her, she already knows Fly, which you can put to use immediately without any gym badge. Being in Goldenrod anyways, it is a good idea to pick up the coin case and the bicycle right away. The squirt bottle is not available to us, since we don't have any gym badges yet. It apparently is too dangerous to use without badges. I mean, really? It's a watering can. Jesus. Anyways, using Kenya and being able to fly to any location from the start, you should go and collect key items you will need for the challenge. I would advise you to fly to Fuchsia City and go to the Warden's house. There you will find the HM for Surf. I wanted to complete the challenge as fast as possible, so this is what I did. I flew directly to Viridian City and head west to Route 28. Here's what we are making use of now. You see, trainer battles do scale with your gym badges, but most wild Pokemon battles won't. And on Route 28, right next to Mount Silver, the Pokemon are extremely strong. Make sure that you have at least one Pokeball with you and head straight to the infamous Mount Silver route. There won't be any guard to block you this time. I would strongly recommend saving your game here, as any Pokemon here will one-shot you, and it is very likely that they break out of the Pokeball. With a bit of luck you will find the Poliwhirl here at night. This is your target Pokemon. Make sure to get one. If you got it, teach it Surf and any other HM or TM you will find. After doing so, fly next to Olivine City. There at the Vanilla location, the cafe, you will find the HM for Strength. The TM for Rock Smash is available from the start as well, west of Violet City from the Vanilla NPC. And Waterfall and Whirlpool are also in their Vanilla locations. But to get to Dragonstein actually, to get Whirlpool, you will need to find a secret entrance, which is located at Mount Rose, north at Blackthorn. but don't worry, you will see it in the video where it is. Oh, and you also need Headbutt, which is gifted to you by an NPC in Ilex Forest. Besides the HMs and TMs, you will also need to find the fishing rods, so make sure to grab them as well in the vanilla locations. If you did all of that, you're ready to go. Money, especially in the early game, will be a real issue, so make sure that you collect all items you can get on the way. Trainer battles mostly scale with your badges, so they barely give you anything. If you really want to save lots of in-game time, I want to present you the Ridge method, named after Shiny Ghost Hunter Ridge. He suggested that before any encounter you should save your game, enter the grass or water, and hope that it is the Pokemon you are looking for and it stays in the Pokeball in the first try. If they don't, or if it's the wrong Pokemon, you soft reset. This sounds extremely tedious, but it really cuts down your in-game time by a lot. Also, as a little tip from myself, use the Pokédex. It will always show you the Pokemon in your area, so you don't have to look it up online. So, now that we are set up, we can finally start the challenge. After stocking up on as many Pokeballs and Great Balls as I could, I thought, hey, why not stay on Route 28 for the lulz? If you have the ability to surf, you can reach a small hidden cave on the far west. In there we find our first legendary, Moltres. The legendary birds unfortunately scale with your badges, so it's not really a viable option to carry our team. After getting one of our first Pokemon, a level 5 Moltres, we stay in the area and catch the rest of the Pokemon available. And what's almost more important, collect any item we can find along the way, to sell them for profit. The Pokemon you can find here are Arbok, Scizor, Golbat, Crobat, Rapidash, and Tangela. Inside of Mount Silver, yeah, we are that crazy, you'll find Ursaring at morning time, Onix, Graveler, Parasect, and when surfing Goldeen, Golduck, Seaking and Misdreavus. So, now that we had our fun and our first 18 Pokemon, I decided to go the nostalgic route and started Route 1. There are Hoothoot and Rattata, which joined my quest for the Dex. Not losing any more time, we head straight to Viridian Forest. There we will find Weedle, Caterpie, Pikachu and Pidgey. Oh, and also a Sudowoodo, but without the squirt bottle, well, that's a problem for later. Also we will find Butterfree, Metapod, Kakuna, Beedrill and a Chikorita here. After getting all we wanted, on Route 2 we get our hands on a Ledibar and a Sunkern. Skipping Pewter City and its gym, we only want to complete the Pokédex after all, not becoming the champion. Route 3 is our next goal. At different times of the day I got myself an Ekans, a Zubat and a Mareep here. Heading straight to the Shady Magikarp vendor and right, no money. Heading straight into Mount Moon, there's a lot of new Pokemon to catch here. This includes Geodude, Paras, Sandshrew, Clefairy and its evolution, Clefable. You could theoretically also get one of the fossils here, but it's not really necessary. Speaking to the NPC near the entrance will allow us to a new feature, reading Pokemon footprints. Sometimes you get lucky and it spawns a rare Pokemon. I got clever this way. With the NPC gone, you will be able to enter a brand new secret area within Mount Moon. You will unlock the Battle Tutor here, but that's not why I was there for. Outside you can find a patch of water, which allowed me to get my hands on a Remoraid and an Octillery. Exit in the area and Mount Moon in general, I found myself on Route 4, on my way to Cerulean City. Here I got myself a quick Whopper for the way. Nothing for us to do in Cerulean City unfortunately, beside picking up all the items we can get our hands on. So I had 3 different choices now, north, east or south. I decided to clear the north at first, and the most tedious area. And so I went straight to Route 24. In the patches of grass, depending on the time of the day, I could add Oddish, Venonat, Bellsprout and Natu to the total. Going into the Cerulean Cave, because why not, gave me a very tedious time of soft resetting, firing Pokeballs and praying. But in the end it did pay off, as I could Rhyhorn, Wigglytuff, Primeape, Hypno, Sandslash, Venomoth, Seadra, Dodrio, Tentacruel, Kingdra, Cloyster, Gyarados and Lantern to the dex total. Oh, and trust me, we are not even half done with Cerulean Cave yet. After this time I realized that Great Balls are not the way to go, as the catch rate wasn't really that great at all, despite the name. So I decided to fly to Azalea Town, where at Kurt's place all the special Apricot Pokeballs will be sold. And you know what's the best thing about it? They work as intended! So I stocked up on as many level balls as possible, and put either Kingdra or Poliwhirl at the front to maximize my chances. Most Pokemon I encountered were still very weak, and even the same level or slightly higher level had still better catch rates than Great Balls. Flying back to Cerulean City, my quest to get all Pokemon on Route 24 wasn't over yet. There's a new area in this ROM hack, a cave, which also of course has plenty of new Pokemon to catch. And also quite a bit of valuable items to collect. Being here, I caught Marill, Chinchou, Horsey, Corsola and a Lapras before I moved on. Now that the northern part of Kanto is more or less cleared, I will need to come back later for the Cerulean Cave. I passed Cerulean City and made my way south, heading to Vermilion City. On my way, I passed Route 5, where Abra and Meowth were added to the total. Ah, Saffron City, the heart of Kanto. And there is nothing for us to do here, unfortunately. Going east isn't really an option, because the only patch of grass on Route 8 is blocked by a tree, which we can't cut down. So instead of going east, we go south. On Route 6 we will find a lot of more Pokemon for our collection. And also a new area. Being here, I got my hands on Magnemite, Drowsy, Psyduck, Phanpy and Jigglypuff. A little bit hidden on the west side, you will find the entrance to Grollo's Gorge. A new little extra area, which also gives us access to Murkrow and Noctowl, which of course needs a proper name. Kadabra with a 1% encounter rate, and an Aerodactyl as a static encounter at the top of the hill. I decided to go back to Route 6 and down to Vermilion City. Nothing for us to do here yet, so my way was directly towards Diglett's cave. Near the cave is Snorlax, and using the Pokegear radio I was able to wake it up and add it to my growing collection. Thinking about how proud Professor Oak will be, I made my way into Diglett Tunnel, where, spoiler alert, I was greeted with Digletts and Dugtrios. Leaving the cave on the other side and speaking to the aid of Professor Oak made me slowly realize that maybe I did a little mistake on picking my starter. But I quickly got rid of this thought, thinking that Rock Tunnel is only optional. I settled on where to go next. Kanto and Johto is open, and that makes the decision quite difficult. But I wanted to get my next legendary. Since Mewtwo doesn't spawn until a certain point in the story, my goal was to go back to Cerulean City, and heading to Route 9 and 10, just before Rock Tunnel. There in the high grass areas I found Fearow, Voltorb, Electabuzz and Marowak for my Pokédex. In the Rock Tunnel itself, despite not being able to see much, Machop, Machoke and Haunter joined my team. My next goal was the power plant, and moving towards the building triggered a little cutscene with Zapdos greeting me. And so I continued and entered the power plant. Inside I found plenty of new Pokemon, spread widely over the game's mornings, days and nights. Making sure that my Pokemon never runs out of battery power anymore, I caught Fluffy, Electrode, Raichu, Pichu, Elekid, Jolteon and Magneton there. You may notice my Mewtwo at this point, or that I had a Kingdra on screen before I caught it. Well, my playthrough was a little bit of back and forth and kind of all over the place, and I simply forgot to complete the power plant until the very end. So yeah. Anyways, Zapdos was next. And it being level 5, against my level balls, it had no chance at all. Since Lucky Me doesn't have to go through Rock Tunnel anymore, and Route 8 doesn't give us new Pokemon anyways, I decided to fly back to Saffron City, and go west, heading to Celadon. On my way there, I passed Route 7, and Houndour, Persian and Snubbull decided to contribute to my Dex collection. With almost 100 Pokemon now, in Celadon City for once I had something to do, and I made my way to the top of the skyscraper. I was preparing to get my free Eevee and... never mind. I will come back. Eventually. Maybe. Passing Celadon and its attractions, I found myself on Route 16, just before the cycling road. There I caught myself some environmental pollution, a Slugmar and a Ditto. And continued my journey with now 100 Pokemon. Because I don't like cycling road and definitely not because I forgot to pick up the bike earlier, I skipped Route 17 and went straight to Route 18. There I caught a Beta Gabardor and returned back to Fuchsia. You see, Gen 2 originally didn't have a Safari Zone anymore. This ROM hack reintroduces it. And I can tell you, only better. You can use your own Pokeballs and even weaken the Pokemon. That's how things should be. Well, I hope you have your seatbelts fastened, because this will be quite a big section. Inside of the Safari Zone I found Nidorino, Nidoran male and female, Kangaskhan, Cubone, Nidorina, Doduo, Yanma, Skarmory, Pinsir, Scyther, Xatu, Bellossom, Execute, Shuckle, Girafarig, Miltank, Smeargle, Dunsparce, Totodile, Cyndaquil, Teddiursa, Krabby and a Sunflora. Also, I did make sure to grab the amulet coin for later. So now we are already 125 Pokemon in. And we haven't even touched Johto. That's quite impressive if you ask me. After the Safari Zone, I decided to clear Route 15 west of Fuchsia before I make my way to Cinnabar. On Route 15 I found wild Pidgeotto, Hoppip and Skiploom, which made great additions to our total decks. Now that it's all done there, I made my way to Cinnabar Island, where I could immediately find new Pokemon just by surfing and rock smashing. By doing this, I got myself a Magpie and a Mantine. Unlike the originals, you can enter the volcano in the ROM hack, with access to the old Pokemon Mansion. This is where we are heading. But before entering the Pokemon Mansion, I used Rock Smash and added Charmander and a Magcargo to my team. Inside of the old Pokemon Mansion, as in the original Red, Blue and Yellow, you will find a lot of wild Pokemon and many items. I took that opportunity to expand my Pokédex even further, by catching Vulpix, Growlithe, Koffing, Flareon and a Magba. But don't worry, we will return to this location later. Out of the hot inside of the old volcano, we went quite to the opposite location. To Seafoam Islands. You see, my legendary bird collection is still pretty lackluster and Articuno would make a great addition. But you see, not only Articuno awaited me there, but also quite some new Pokemon and a puzzle. Inside of the islands, I found and captured Slowpoke, Seal, Dugong, Kingler, Starmie, Vaporeon, and finally their big boss, Articuno. Same as with Zapdos, it being level 5 meant that an 8 times catch rate modifier applied, so that didn't take too long. Leaving the Seafoam Islands again, we are almost finished with Kanto already. On my way to Johto, I passed Pallet Town and Route 21, where I got a Sandrit and a Mr. Mime. I passed Viridian City and made a quick stop at Victory Road, where I called a Golem. My first step into Kanto at Route 27. Well, no NPC to greet me this time, but that's no problem. I passed Route 27 and went straight to Route 26, where I found a Quagsire. New Barktown these days is connected with a bridge now, so I didn't even need to surf to get to my first town in Johto. I visited Professor Elm's lab and... alright, the Togepi egg. Well, if he doesn't give me one, I just... you know. Yes, you heard it right. You can literally become silver and just joink the Togepi away. Doing so and walking around for a bit, eventually Togepi hatched, and that makes Pokemon number 149 in our list. West of New Barktown, we enter Cherry Grove City. It has also been given a big new area, but before we enter, we, of course, need to do something else. And that is headbutting some trees. Doing so reveals Spinnerack, Apom, and Heracross, which we quickly add to the decks. Now that I got a headache from all the headbutting, I explored the new area of Cherry Grove Bay. It is directly west to Cherry Grove City and includes open sea, mountains, and also an hidden area. While exploring and using Surf and the Good Rod, I captured some new Pokémon. Tentacool, Stantler, Ponyta, Quillfish, and Ghastly were added to the Pokédex. While in the mountain of Cherry Grove Bay, I found Magikarp and Poliwag by surfing. Also at Cherry Grove Bay, I got reminded of another Sudowoodo that I can't catch because of the missing Squirt Bottle. By checking the decks there, I noticed that there is some sort of hidden area there, where Sudowoodo spawn naturally. But finding it was quite complicated. After a while and almost giving up, I discovered that by clicking a very specific tree in Cherry Grove, you could actually open up the secret forest area. Sudowoodo spawned there with a 1% encounter rate, so it took a while. Ultimately, I could add one to the Pokédex, which I was very happy about, making Sudowoodo Pokémon number 160 in my Pokédex collection. Exiting Cherry Grove City and heading north to Violet City, my dex told me that there were 2 unknown Pokémon in this area. So I stopped here on Route 31 and was able to add Pineco and Poliwrath to my dex total. Entering Violet City, there was again nothing for us to do here. So I went for the Runes of Alph. And I failed at solving the puzzle. Then I fell through a door. My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. Well, Unknown was added to my decks, at least. Since I slowly but surely ran out of options where to go, I decided to stop in Azalea Town, to enter Elex Forest and the Slowpoke Well. I started with the Slowpoke Well, where I found a Shelder and a Slowbro for my Pokédex. In Elex Forest only one addition was made, it being Bulbasaur. Passing Goldenrod City, if you aren't in the mood for gambling of course, there's little to do here. So we went north, to be able to participate in our most favorite contest ever. I really hope that we can somehow get around the bug catching contest, but yeah, no, that's not an option. It wasn't too bad to be honest, because the only Pokemon which we had to get here was Fortress. But yeah, still, bug catching contest, no. Eventually I got a Fortress, and I can tell you something else. Catching her not only expanded my Pokédex, but also made me win this thing. Well, the order in the universe is restored again. Also, fuck that guy with the Pinsir who always steals my win in the vanilla games. With now 163 Pokemon and half of Johto behind us, our next goal is Ecruteak. On the way there we pass Route 37, which I used to add Ledian and Ariados to my collection. Actually arriving in Ecruteak, let's have some fun, shall we? By heading straight into the Burnt Tower and showing Eugene who's the real boss here, we activate the Suicune storyline. Simula is in the regular crystal. Also the roamers are now set free. We will need to complete the Suicune plotline at some point to unlock more stuff, but for now, let's catch whatever is still left in Johto. Going west to Route 38, there's both Raticate and Tauros to catch. In Olivine, make sure to get the HM for strength if you haven't already. I quite like Olivine and used my time there to get a Staryu by rock smashing. Returning back to Ecruteak and going east this time, Route 42 awaits us. On this route we find Mankey and more importantly the entrance to Mount Mortar. Mount Mortar is home to a lot of new Pokemon, which we all need to complete our goal. In here, on the different floors, we found Omanyte, Omastar, Kabuto and Kabutops just by fishing. Tyrogue is there as well, which we need 3 of. And Pupitar just by simply walking. Bringing our dex total to 179. Exiting Mount Mortar with a lot of new Pokemon, it is time for us to go to Mahogany Town. Or better, to pass Mahogany Town. And go north to the Lake of Rage. On my way there, I catch the ferret. No shiny Gyarados here yet, because of the badges, but I found out something else. When exploring east of the Lake of Rage, I found that there is a new area. The so-called Forest of Rage. In this foresty area, I managed to catch Farfetch'd, Igglybuff and Gloom, which is all the Pokemon I need here. Going back to Mahogany Town, we can go east and make our way to Blackthorn. And the Ice Cave, of course. Before reaching any of those, I caught a Weepin Bell and a Lickitung on Route 44. You don't have to go through the ice path anymore to reach Blackthorn City, as Blackthorn is directly connected to Route 44. But we need to get into the ice path nevertheless, to get ourselves some new ice Pokemon. Entering the ice path by walking and rock smashing, I managed to get all Pokemon there for the Dex relatively easy. Those Pokemon were Swinub, Jinx, Smoochum and a female Delibird, which, of course, I have to name. Back in Blackthorn, we have two options again. I chose to go south to Route 45 and to Dark Cave to get myself the last Pokemon I need from this area, Wobbuffet. After doing so, by walking into a small cutscene, you will see that you can actually go north of Blackthorn, into a new area, called Mount Rose. Our way to Dragon's Den is blocked anyways, until we would have more badges. So we need to find another way in, because the HM for Whirlpool is essential, unfortunately. On Mount Rose itself, we find plenty of new Pokemon, which I gladly add to the Pokédex. We can add Gligar, Umbreon, Espeon, Donphan, Dragonair and Dratini here, bringing our dex total to 192 Pokemon. By dropping into the hole in the floor south of the patch of grass, you can actually enter Silver Cave. We use this opportunity to get Larvitar and Sneasel here. Head back to the top of Mount Rose and drop down in the hole near the water at the summit to enter Dragon's Den secretly and get the HM. Now that we caught the majority of the wild Pokemon, it is time to continue the Suicune event. Go to the north of Cianwood City and get near Suicune. It will flee again, of course, and you need to put Eugene back to his place again. Encounter Suicune on Route 42 again, then on Route 36, and watch the cute cutscene. After doing all of that, you have to beat the Kimono Girls. Doing so and speaking to the NPC will allow you to get the Clear Bell. With that, the entrance to the Tin Tower will be open for you, with Suicune waiting in the Tin Tower. Rubbing extra salt into the wounds of Eugene by catching Suicune in front of his eyes is just a little bonus on top. After I caught Suicune, I went for the Roamers. And just don't remind me. I hate this part of the game so much. Well, actually it was not as bad as in Vanilla Gen 2, because this time fastballs actually work. Thanks a lot for that. Seriously. After a while I managed to bring Raikou and Entei in my possession. Because I couldn't find Mew, I searched at the you-know-what location and pushed the you-know-what with strength. This time it worked! And it triggered the Mew event. Now unfortunately we can't catch Mew just yet. Returning back to Lavender Town, we see a little cutscene. Our boy Eugene is quite salty and took Mr. Fuji as a hostage. Guess where they are now? Returning back to the Pokemon Mansion, what a surprise, we see a fairly long cutscene. A bit of Eugene and the birth of Mewtwo. Damn, that poor guy can't catch a break from losing all the time, can he? Just like my rival. After the cutscene is over, make sure to go to the room where Mew is, to activate it as a roamer. Yeah. Well, you know the drill. Mewtwo and Mew will be available from this point onwards, and I wanted to get Mew first. I got pretty lucky actually, and after only a couple of encounters, it stayed in the fastball. In Cerulean Cave I wanted to encounter Mewtwo when Eugene showed up again, for a little bit of a redemption arc. After him apologizing to me, we will be handled with the Master Ball. I didn't had any roamers left to catch anymore, and getting it earlier would have been smarter, but hey, I have it now, and so I used it on Mewtwo. But before leaving Cerulean Cave, I caught any remaining Pokemon that the dex showed me up there. Doing so I could add Blissey, Rhydon, Slowking, Gengar, Alakazam, Steelix, Victreebel, Politoed, Chansey and Machamp to the Pokédex, bringing it up to 213 caught Pokemon. At this point I only needed the rest of the Gen 2 legendaries and evolve what I had. So I went for Lugia first. To actually get the Silverwing, I visited Amphi at the top of the lighthouse in Olivine and fed it a berry. With the Silverwing acquired, I made my way to the Whirl Islands. And oh no, Flash. Well, that sucks. Unfortunately, I can't skip this one, so I have to find my way in the darkness to get to Lugia. Little pro tip here. Get Voltorb as a starter, and save yourself from this pain. Being on our way to Lugia, we caught a Squirtle. And eventually, after way too long, I reached the main chamber. If catching the legendary is not as hard as getting to it, then you know you did something wrong. Anyways, on to Ho-Oh. The Rainbow Wing you will find in the Bellsprout Tower, after defeating all the sages. From there is business as usual. Climb the Tin Tower and fight the big chicken. Boom. Celebi is also pretty straightforward. After the Suicune event, talk to the girl in Ilex Forest. Then talk to Kurt in Azalea Town, then go to Oak. Then return to Kurt, and after 24 hours he has the GS Ball ready. Bringing the GS Ball into the Ilex Forest triggers the Celebi cutscene. And I could encounter it at level 5, so a single level ball did made the trick. Now we can evolve whatever Pokemon we have. To do this, oh right, yeah, I forgot Eevee. One Eevee later. To actually evolve the last Pokemon, I tried out many different locations, including Cerulean Cave, where you can find actually wild Blisseys. But they spawn at such a little rate, and even Mewtwo could not even one-shot them, so I needed to come up with a different plan. With the rest of my money, I bought an EXP share in the Goldenrod Game Corner, and made my way to the Indigo Plateau. You can't challenge the actual Elite Four because you have, no badge yet. But there's a simulation of the original vanilla Elite Four. And you know what? There's no restriction on using that. Despite it being only a simulation, your Pokemon can earn real XP, and at the end of the fight you earn real money. I gave that a try and slapped an amulet coin on my Mewtwo and an EXP share on whatever Pokemon I was grinding at the moment. And then I fought virtual lands over and over again. His Dragonites not only gave great EXP, but with the amulet coin at the end of each battle, I was 10,000 Pokédollars richer. I used that money to buy game coins, and used the game coins to purchase rare candies, leveling my Pokemon with lands, and those who needed higher levels with the rare candies. That made the whole process not only extremely easy, but also very, very fast. Within no time I managed to evolve my Chikorita into a Bayleaf, and my Bayleaf into a Meganium, my Totodile into a Croconaw and into a Feraligatr, my Houndour into a Houndoom, Fluffy into an Ampharos, Coughing into a Weezing, my Pupitar into a Tyranitar, Pidgeotto into a Pidgeot, Squirtle into a Wartortle and into a Blastoise, Cyndaquil into a Quilava and into a Typhlosion, Dragonair into a Dragonite, Marill into an Azumarill, Swinub into a Piloswine, Bulbasaur into Ivysaur and then into a Venusaur, my Charmander into a Charmeleon and into a Charizard, Snubbull into a Granbull, Togepi into a Togetic with enough happiness, Skiploom into a Jumpluff, and finally our 3 Tyrogues into Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee and Hitmontop respectively. But wait, there's still Pokemon we have to evolve. That's the Pokemon we have to evolve with the Elemental Stones. Gladly we earned so much with battling lands over and over again, And this time, unlike in real Gen 2, the elemental stones are for sale in Goldenrod department store and not limited. Buying the rest we need, we evolve our final Pokemon. Nidorino into a Nidoking, Nidorina into a Nidoqueen, Gloom into a Vileplume, Growlithe into an Arcanine, Vulpix into Ninetales, Execute into an Executor, and finally, it started with Porygon and it ends with Porygon. Evolving our starter into a Porygon 2, making it hold the upgrade item and evolving it over the trade back guy in Goldenrod City. And now, with our last Pokemon evolved, when we open the Pokédex, we can see that we caught all Pokemon in Crystal Clear, without a single badge. Isn't that impressive? Feel free to beat my time though, I'm not touching this game again. A big shout out to Rich again for his method. It cut down my game time so much, and I believe that sub 10 is definitely possible. Now, let's see what the big master has to say about our Pokédex. Okay. Yeah, no. No, I don't want to battle you. I want you to rate my Pokédex. Fine, I ask Elm. Well, seems like Elm is still a little bit salty over Togepi. This is awkward. Okay, I fight Oak. So, now, what do you say? For real? For real? Thanks for nothing, Oak. Okay, well, here's the complete Pokédex for you again. I hope that you had as much fun as I had with this challenge. Did you actually like it? Or did you not? Are you doing a challenge on your own at the moment? Please let me know in the comments below. By the way, this was my second completed Professor Oak challenge, and I didn't even run into a single shiny in either one of them. Beside the scripted ones, of course. That's pretty depressing. As usual, thanks for watching. Until next time.